Yo, we back at it again with another bang. Today's video will be on Kross leaving So Def. We're gonna be talking about why they left and possibilities of them starting their own thing with their longtime producer. So without further ado, don't forget to get your wine, your drinks, your snacks, your smoke. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit that bell to get notified every time I upload a video. Let's get into this. Kross had it all made. They were selling millions of records, going gold and platinum. But after their last album, Young, Rich, and Dangerous, you didn't see no more from them. Kross, they would still do the shows here and there with DJ Nabs at Club Kaya. And whenever photographers see them in public, this was around 98, 99, they would snap pictures of them. And by this time Chris Kelly's hair had grew back and he had dyed it, and they had did the XXL cover. Everybody that was related to rap, they had invited them to Harlem to take these pictures for the XXL cover, and they took multiple shots. And you can see here there's also some rare clips that your boy had to dig and find real hard. There's some clips that your boy found of Kross, DJ Nabs. At this shoot, you got Willie D, Brad, Jermaine, Scarface, Naughty by Nature, Goody Mob, and many others. After this, Kross also was a part of DJ Nabs' hit song Party from his album In the Lab with DJ Nabs, featuring ROC and Ludacris. This was in 1998. Kross, they were still on the scene. This was just 2 years later, so people really didn't see much of Kross group-wise. And here's why. They were happy, but in such of a sense, they wanted to take more control over their careers and just not go off of JD's tune. Allegedly, Chris Kelly had thoughts of we can be our own bosses at this point. We don't need to take orders from Jay. I mean, it's good that he put us on. We love that nigga, but we need to be our own bosses. And allegedly that caused a feud between them, and they left. As far as that, they were signed to Columbia Records via Rough House. Now at this time, everybody was signed to Rough House. Kross, the Fugees, Cypress Hill, and many others. Rough House was owned by Chris Swartz and Joe the Butcher. Joe the Butcher did a lot of Kross remixes and stuff like that. After they left, they still had ambitions of doing their own thing. So they hooked up with Joe the Butcher since they've been new Joe the Butcher since they were kids, and now they're grown men now. So they went to him and was like, hey, we want to do an album, but this is just gonna be strictly us, no Jermaine. Let's see how far we can do it and let's work. So they got in the studio with Joe the Butcher. They started making their album, Kross is Back. There were many titles to be rumored that they were gonna name this album, but they started working on it, and all this is around the time of 2001. So yeah, that was some time from their last album, and plus by this time Bow Wow was blowing up. They started doing tracks like Girlfriend, Look How They Raised Us, Tonight's the Night Part 2, All Night, Where You At, featured DJ Nab scratching on it, and other tracks. They were doing good doing this album, but suddenly the album never released, and that's a big loop right there. We don't really know why the album wasn't released, but allegedly that this album was shelved and it never got released. They were still doing shows and still doing little shows here and there, but Kross really wasn't on the big music scene like they were when they first came out, and people was wondering, where'd they go? What happened to them? Chris, they was focusing on their own lives at this point. Chris Smith was doing his One Life Entertainment, putting his on together and stuff. He made the song Lady, and he was still kind of instilled to the music, but not as much. Chris Kelly, on the other hand, he was studying to be an engineer. He was doing a little boxing. Chris Kelly, in my opinion, he was still staying into the music and he was holding on to it. Chris Smith was like, I'm gonna do my art, I'm gonna do my music, but I'm gonna still do my art because that's what I love to do. Chris Kelly was still like, nah, new, we crisscross for life. We're gonna be still putting out music, whether they like it or not. Chris Kelly still stayed in the studio. He was doing his own stuff at his home studio. He was doing a lot of music that most of it never got released, which, his people, his family has holds onto that. Chris Kelly had got back into media when he was seen at a park in Atlanta. Supposedly, quote unquote, fan pretended like they was a real crisscross fan and wanted to take some pictures of him, but wind up blasting his pictures all over the internet and spreading rumors that he had cancer because of when they took the picture. Chris Kelly, by this time, most of his hair was gone because he had alopecia. And these people at this moment didn't go to school or pay attention in class to know this information. And so they wound up blasting his pictures all over the internet talking about, we see Chris Kelly and he's on drugs and his hair is gone, and what do y'all think about this? But basically like making a mockery out of Chris Kelly's photos. This made the crisscross community go nuts. And this was around maybe like 2007 or maybe just like the late 2000s. And Chris Kelly got on straight from the A and put all those rumors to rest.
Well, I mean, as far as with my health, I do not have cancer. I have a thing that you call alopecia, where you lose your hair. And basically that's it. I was at the park just chilling. I thought I was taking a picture for a fan, and the next thing I know, my picture is posted on the internet. But it ain't no big thing because I actually posed for the picture. A lot of people saying reckless stuff, but people act like they never seen a person with a bald spot before. You know what I mean? But it's all good. My health is good. I just got alopecia. I don't have cancer, no other kind of diseases or none of that.
That just goes to show you the clout chasing from when technology really started popping. They wanted some clout, and so they tried to use one of the OGs to get some clout. So after all this time, JD finally reconnected with Crisscross for the 20th So Death anniversary thing, and it was a whole big blowout, and people really didn't know that Crisscross was going to be a part of this until the announcements broke. Crisscross was invited to a press conference where everybody was there from So Death and rappers that was affiliated with him that he produced for, like Bone Crusher, Escape, Da Brat, DJ Nabs. He came in with Criss, because DJ Nabs and Criss are like that, they're like brother and brother. So wherever you see DJ Nabs, you see Chris Kelly. So they were doing the conference, and Chris Kelly and them came a little bit later on, and when they came down, everybody was shocked to see them show up. And tells from the footage that Da Brat was very, very, very happy to see Criss. Michael Molden, which is JD's father, he was standing there with JD, and they were doing the conference thing. And I guess it was at some type of mall. If I'm not sure how Greenbrier Mall looks, but because I've never been to ATL yet, but they had it at some big vicinity, and people were happy to see Crisscross after all this time, because since they've been out the public's eye for so long. Jermaine was just having different events to get his past artists, back in the mood of things. They had this dinner where Bow Wow met Chris Kelly, and it was just a good moment for hip hop. Bone Crusher was there. Chris Smith didn't show up from the pictures I've seen. He didn't show up. But maybe, they caught the cameras at the bad angle and maybe he was there. DJ Nabs was there, the Franchise Boys, and many more. So they started rehearsing for the So Def 20-year anniversary concert. Criss Kross and them, they were so energized and pumped up behind the scenes. There were photos that my big homie DJ Nabs, he had posted years ago when that happened. They were behind the scenes taking photos, rehearsing. Criss Kross and them, there's footage of them rehearsing Jump, and they were just getting back into the mood of things since they hadn't been on stage in years. When the people seen Criss Kross come on stage, they went bonkers, because it had been decades since they had been on a public stage full of all those people, and people really was like, oh my god, they're back. It was rumored to Criss Kross they was going to get back into the studio with Jermaine, and they were going to make a new album, and they were going to do a new Criss Kross tour. But unfortunately, Chris Kelly wound up passing on May 1st. This threw all the Criss Kross plans out the window completely. It had got to a point like, dang, we were highly anticipating on wanting to see more from Criss Kross since it's a new day and age. Technology is different and so forth. But now one of the main guys he's deceased, he's passed on, and we don't know what to do at this point. They had Chris Kelly's funeral and it was very sad. A lot of the celebrities attended, such as Escape, Jermaine, of course, DJ Nabs, Da Brat, and many others. It was such a sad day for hip-hop, period. Chris Smith got up on stage and he spoke some words.
But I'm going to do my part, though, to make sure Chris' memory live on. Alright?
But he still managed to keep their legacy alive. As of right now, Chris Smith is getting back into the studio, people. He's dropping new stuff. He has his merch, Urban Muse. He has some good merch, shoes, bucket hats. His clothing line is going bonkers at this point. He still does his art, and he's very cold with that paintbrush and that pencil. As of his music, he just dropped his EP, Just Do You. It's hidden. It's all that and a bag of chips and a soda. And Chris Smith says, thank you to all the fans for the likes, love, and cool comments on my new release, Just Do You. I'm currently in the studio completing my forthcoming album and want to give you a listen to what I'm working on. Look forward to letting you hear the album. Much appreciated, Chris. Prayer hands 100. And yeah, it's good to see that Chris Smith is keeping the legacy going and never letting their legacy be overlooked. And yeah, Criss Kross left their mark in the music industry forever. Us as the fans, we will always love Criss Kross, bang their music, and show love and support. Salute to the OG Chris Smith. We thank you for keeping the legacy going, big homie. Much love to the Kelly family, the Smith family, and everyone affiliated. So without further ado, your boy For The Culture TV, tuning out. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Turn on that bell to get notified every time I upload a video. And your boy gonna always be here. That's gonna have that good quality content that's gonna bring your eyes and ears to the rear. And I'm out this joint. Rest in peace to the OG legendary Chris Kelly.